Good evening, folks. I know it's been a while since I did a video because I'm moving, and I've got a lot of things on to do at work and so forth. For example, we're going to be working on applications for the iPad. Anyways, I've watched a video, not a video, but a recording at King World's News with Rob Arnott a while back, and I decided to do a video today about it because I read another article that was like sort of related to the whole story. One of the main stories in Rob Arnott's discussion. The recording link is below, so if you click below, you can see it. Now, in the discussion, Rob Arnott mentioned a book that he was reading where the protagonist had received $250,000 in 1960 and was considered set for life. Now, Rob Arnott is investment advisor and stuff like that, and he says, okay, well, let's divide his cost of living through 30 years, and as you know, it would be like $5,000, and he'd go broke well before then because inflation would have ate away his savings. Now, I think that Arnott is incorrect. Sander, play your game. I'm talking to people here on the internet. Anyways, I believe that he could have saved the money in real money, gold and silver, mostly gold actually. And if he had purchased all in gold, and you're like, well, wait a minute, in America you couldn't own gold. Well, you could own what's it called, the numismatic coins, which were selling for about approximately anywhere between $36 and $40. If he was paying over $40, then he shouldn't have purchased it. You could have purchased the low end kinds and stuff like that would have increased in value well before did increase in value well before the 1971 what's it called, the removal of the gold standard. So he would have saw his purchasing power increase with inflation with those particular coins, because they were legal to own in the States. Now, he would have if he would have let's just say given himself $5,000 worth in gold coins, whatever the value of 5,000 at 1960, and this keep the same amount of coins based on that he would pay himself every year after that for 50 years. The amount of coins that he would receive was 135 ounces of gold for his cost of living, and he did that consistently. He would have the inflation on the price of gold would have carried him all the way through all the inflation of the 1970s. He would have saw an increase of his income as the time goes by, and to the point, the 135 coins a year. I mean, work it out, guys. If it was just $1,000 per coin, which is now $1,200, but let's just say 1,000 for easy math, it's $135,000 a year. So that was what his equivalent purchasing power in 1960 with these things. And if he were to continue to do that until 1980, he could have had a choice because he would have been making at $500 an ounce per coin, at least over $70,000 a year in 1980. right? I'm not going to take the high because that was a short time peak, but then it stayed around just over $500 an ounce for most of the 80s. Now, in the 80s, he had a choice. He could have decided to convert the rest of his gold into treasury notes and receive the income from the taxpayers. And at that time, the high was like, for a 30-year note, was 20%. So let's just say he didn't even catch the high, which is unlikely. Because it was a while before he could have like really said, okay, well, damn, 20%, and taken it, right? But it was a scary time, and he could have been holding on to his gold and saying, oh, I don't know if they're gonna hyperinflate or not, blah blah blah. And you could have held on to your gold for a little while. So let's just say he got the worst of the worst. He got 10% over 30 years. At that time, in 1980, sometime in 1980, let's just say he decided to take it, or 81, he would have had over $2 million worth of coins. And at 10% per year, right, that's $200,000. After taxes, right, $200,000 he would have been making a year. After taxes, it would have been what? Let's just say 150. So, and then he would have kept his principal all the way to his 30 years until the 30 years left that he had until he died, which let's just say it was 80. That was his expected life rate. So yes, his money would have lasted the whole 30 years, even if he just decided, okay, you know what, I'm just going to hold the gold. Sure, during the 90s he would have been suffering through a little bit of austerity, but in the last 10 decade of his life, when he was 70s, he would have saw some serious increase in his income, and he would have been doing a lot better. So, the point is, this other article I read is that how people are getting their pensions cut because they were overpaid in the past, and they were asked to repay it back. Link below. And what this shows, and as an example, is that if you become dependent on some business to pay your retirement, you will get wiped out. So you can't depend on other people to pay your retirement. And that leads back to my other story. So if I'm going to be doing the same thing, I'm going to be saving gold and silver. And then once silver goes nuclear, I'm going to switch over to gold and just retire on gold. Now the question remains is that obviously we're going to smarten up and then raise interest rates and stuff like that. And obviously I'm not going to buy U.S. Treasury notes because Americans don't make anything. The question then remains is, are you going to buy Chinese debt notes? Now, you can skin up your face and be scared and pretend you're scared and stuff like that. But in reality, right, the government there has control of its citizens a lot more than the United States. So the question remains, do you convert your gold into yuan or whatever it is that whatever money value they've got, and buy their notes, their bank notes, their debt notes basically, and earn a percentage from the labor of the Chinese population. So you become dependent on the government making sure that, hey, you know what, they pay their taxes. And as you can, as an example of below, with pensioners losing their money, you have that kind of risk as well. History does not repeat itself generally; it usually rhymes. So you might end up the Chinese government might end up defaulting well before you expected. So that's a risk. I personally don't know if I'm going to do that. I know that I'm definitely going to hold gold, and I don't know during my course of my retirement, if I'm going to decide to switch over to some sort of debt note that pays an interest on the debt. So that's all I got for this evening. Why don't you guys talk about it, decide what you would do. You could also invest, obviously, in some sort of business that you know is going to be successful over the long run. That's another option, of course. Of course, you have to find something that's going to be successful, and you have to be happy with it. Now, I don't know if you're going to luck out and do that, but I think for the lowest risk possibility is that you can save gold, this thing right here, and use it for your retirement. I mean, it's not 100%, it's not absolute zero, but it's close to zero in risk. Close enough that, it could be considered zero. Now, those are our options. So let's talk about it. Let's decide what's best for our financial future. Thanks for watching.
And cut.
Here you go.
You're joking, right? What's this?
Your payment.
I don't think so. This is what I'm looking for.
Gold and silver is money and nothing else.